Hello everybody, hope you're having another blessed day. In today's video we are back on a game of Wizard101, which for today's video I'll be showcasing you guys what my gear setup is for my level 180 maxed out Ice Wizard. Alright, showcase you guys what gear you need to use to get the stats I have, along with showcasing you guys my support setup on my Ice Wizard too. So without further ado, let's get into it, and of course starting off with basically my aggro build if I'm being for whatever reason, basically offensive ice. Alright? Typically only happens if basically the Spiral Showcase comes back. Or the Portals of Peril. Basically if that comes back, I may be rocking this build again. Alright? So let's get into our stats. So damage. We're at 208 damage. Alright? Not that high of damage. In fact, I think it's actually lower than my last build I've had, which I'll talk about why in just a second. We have this very lovely number, apparently, I've been told. And we have 67 resist to all skulls, and then 79 of storm, because we hate storm. Storm does a lot of damage. 100% accuracy, with that 36 accuracy, a lot more than we actually need. Alright. And then going over to crit, 649 crit, 769 block to all skulls, and then 51 pierce. So yes, we are able to still achieve that 50% minimum pierce even on our ice, which is why our damage is just a lot lower. We do put a lot of effort and jewel slots into basically more ice pierce. And of course, 100 power pit, you know how it is. Right? And just like in other accounts, you know what the setup is going to be. We do run a lot of the abomination setup, such as the abomination basically hat, abomination boots, abomination wand, then we got abomination aethum, abomination ring, abomination deck box. And then of course, the other two things, we do have the Daemon Robe, which you can get your own version of it if you go to the Molly Bones Mortarist Pack Part 2, which is in the Crown Shop for $3.99. And then also have the 170 version of basically the Ice Amulet, which you can basically get from losing my brain for a second. Basically you get this from basically farming the Kabbalist raid. Right? The Ghastly raid, my bad. Ghastly raid. Right? Now, I haven't done it on this account. In fact, let me just hop over to our guild real quick so I can see the comparison. But I made this right now jewels. But you also could have made one a funny thing. But you can also upgrade this to a 180 version. So let me just hop over to our crafter real quick, if I can figure out where you're at. So this is actually the 180 version I don't have on this account. It would give me a little bit more health, resist, which I'll probably actually get in the future, so you get an idea. Which would put me at 68, basically resist. Which, would be such a shame if I got rid of this number, am I right? Would be such a shame, alright? And then last thing, kind of showcase on this main aggro set build. We do have, of course, the mount. Mount's going to be a 2% mount. I don't have a 3%. I don't rock also the Bronto, Stompos, or what do you want to call them. Alright? Age roll. That's nice. It's better not useful anymore. Alright? But then we're watching Shaggy here. And this is a pet that gives me a blade. And this one here, I want to have, of course, more resist. Of course, I could have more damage. I could have more pierce, whichever. As long as I basically took off, basically this proof. But I want to keep it somewhat Ice identity. Having high resist, I think it's still just part of Ice's identity I did want to take away. Alright, so we're going to basically a triple damage, mighty, breaker, and then proof pace pet, which, that's anything I think I have an all damage. Maybe not on this wizard right now. Maybe it's back at the house. Alright. But then I could also rock like something like this. Take off the boon, put no resist for another 6 resist. And have 73 resist universal if I wanted to. Just basically whatever your preference is. But this is what I like to use right now. Alright. And then deck setup. This is basically my deck setup right now. Basically a 7-card deck like all decks should be. I feel like in the game at this point at max level. With of course the one buff being Frenzy. So if I could Frenzy into a Frost Giant, I can do that. Or if it's first turn, I can just Epic into a Count. Or if that doesn't kill, I also do have now Snowball Barrage, which is basically just a poor man's version of Tempest. Alright, Tempest does like 125 damage base, I think. So this one does a lot less, but it's ice. We'll take what we can get. Alright. So that is going to be basically the main setup for my ice build. And then let's switch over to more of a resist-based build. Alright, this will be more focused on support. So switching back to our health, now our health's at 16,000 health, so we are a very sturdy boy for sure. Alright, damage is still at 164, so that's actually pretty funny. All right, 71 resist, so a little bit better resist. You know, of course, we could get this higher, but I think this is fine overall. Again, I'm not trying to mid-max these as possible. All right, again, it's only the fire do that for it, but this is still really nice for a support-based field with 16,000 elf. Nice accuracy, blocks at 900 plus, so I should block, quote-unquote should, probably won't. All right, of course, power pip is fine too. To do this, all right, so that Dworgen hood for that mass feint. Demon Walking, basically the monster hide suit, right? He gives you 2,312. Yeah, 2,312 health. That's madness. That's literally twice the base of the health my fire and storm robes gives combined, almost. All right, 19 resist is pretty cool. All right, and then I do just keep the Abomination boots since I do need it for basically the power pip to make sure the power pip is fine, I believe, and it also gives more resist than the hide boots. All right, and then we just had the Abomination set up in case they fallen through the rest of it. All right, and then of course the hide deck gives you just a ton of health overall. And pet's going to be basically, you know it, you love it. Basically, our double resist will cast Hex Pet, which is some form of also beneficial item cards. I know a Hex item card, the Dark Tribute item card, and then I have socket on there some more accuracy just for the heck of it. All right. Overall, it makes this a very interesting and fun build to use if I'm ever in a support row, and basically makes me almost unkillable, I feel like. All right. So, very nice build to do that on your ice, which of course, you can also make a setup if you're going for the low levels. It's not that hard, but you can get your ice up to like 100% resist, which if you want to see an updated version of that, just comment it down below in the comment section, and I'll post another video in the future if you want to see a gear setup on my ice or on other accounts, which you can basically get any account up to basically 100% resist. All right. So let me know in the comment section you want to see that. But with that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Guys, help you support me and helps me make more videos for you to enjoy. Now with that, hope this week is blessed, and I'll see you again in the next video. That mine, I'm out.